Garamendi is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, let's see. March 1st is coming, and sequestration along with it. It's my understanding that the Coast Guard is going to be significantly affected by sequestration. Some $340 million will be reduced from your 2013 budget. That is below the 2012 budget level. This is about a 5% cut, as I understand it, but it does result, presumably, in a 21% reduction in operations, except for training and for readiness for search and rescue. In light of these pending cuts, what are your plans to be able to preserve the ability of the Coast Guard to meet the highest priority mission requirements? And also, considering the cascading impact of these reductions will have on the Coast Guard's readiness and capabilities, how will the Coast Guard revise its performance measures to reflect the reality of sequestration?
Well, sequestration, anytime you take a cut of any magnitude this far into the fiscal year, it's challenging. As you know, most of our expenses are in our people and in the operating hours, the cost it is to operate our vessels and aircraft. So there are some challenges associated with absorbing that level of reduction. And I know that our Secretary has recently testified to the Senate Appropriations Committee on the overarching impacts of those cuts and some of the high-level effects that will have. We're still in the process of determining what some of the very detailed cuts are should sequestration order be issued this week. But our goal is to ensure that we have our frontline forces at all times ready to respond to emergency, whether that's a search and rescue case or any other contingency that may happen, a natural or man-made disaster, and of course any terrorist events. We're also ensuring that we have frontline forces in place in those areas of risks that we know are of ongoing concern, whether that's the transit zones in the Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific or migrant interdiction. With respect to our performance targets, we don't intend to reduce our performance targets. We simply intend to report whether or not, what the impact this may or may not have had upon our ability to meet those targets. I think that would be a more realistic way, certainly more useful for me to determine, because our performance targets are set to some extent, well, they're set with respect to the risks and the threats, keeping in mind the available assets to apply to those.
Well, it then appears that is there going to be a 20%, 21% reduction in the operations of the cutters, other boats, as well as the aircraft?
There will be a reduction to our operations budget. I know that the Secretary testified that it could be as much as 25%. What we're trying to do is determine whether a sequestration order would allow us to alter somewhat the types of cuts that we make. I will tell you that I'm committed to ensuring that we have frontline resources at all times ready to respond, but there will be an impact to our ability to operate with a reduction.
Will those impacts be in the search and rescue area or in the prevention area?
We will not reduce our ability to respond to search and rescue cases or to contingencies and emergencies. We at all times have to be ready to meet the nation's demand in that respect. We will look across our other activities to determine whether we can postpone, alter, or otherwise delay the other types of activities we'll do. We'll look at things like maintenance, deferring maintenance on our vessels, and doing other temporary measures to extend our budget through the rest of the fiscal year.
Thank you very much.
Thank the ranking member.